Welcome back to Streamline Investigations. I hope everyone's having a lovely evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. So we're going to get into a article. I'm going to read this first, and it says 4-year-old Gus was last seen playing in the sand on Saturday the afternoon outside his family homestead, a sprawling sheep grazing station in South Australia. So firstly, we were told like it was like a mount of dirt. I guess sand may have been in it as well. Police said when his grandmother went to find him, he was nowhere to be seen, sparking a frantic search by the family, who then called authorities for help. But they didn't actually call authorities till 3 hours later, and then the police didn't get there till 9:30 p.m. at night. Ever since, multiple agencies, including aerial, water, trail bike, and mounted police, SES community volunteers, and sniffer dogs, have combed the arid area, with only breakthrough so far a single footprint found about 500 meters from the station's homestead. How weird is that? Why one footprint was just found, which is quite bizarre. One, surely there would have been other footprints, or I know it gets blown away, but one, that is really, really bizarre. Really bizarre. Just one footprint, nothing else. And people have said, is that being planted? Police said about 100 people have been involved in the search each day, with about 70 of those on the ground. The vast station, which spans about 6,000 hectares and scattered with blue bush and red dirt, is located about 350 km north of Adelaide and about 200 km east of Port Augusta. Here's what we know about the search so far. So this was Saturday when he went missing, the 27th, 3 weeks ago now, people. Gus was last seen playing in the mound of dirt with a little shovel in his hand at the front of the homestead on the remote station about 5 p.m, according to the police. When his grandmother went to check on him, he was nowhere to be seen. So she last saw him at 5 p.m. and then checked him around about 5:30, and he was nowhere to be seen. So that's 30 minutes already gone. When his grandmother went to check on him, he was nowhere to be seen. Police said the family searched for about 3 hours before alerting the police, who arrived about 9:30. So that's 4 hours. 4 hours. So if someone took him, they would have a hell of a head start with the police getting there at 9:30 p.m. at night. Why leave it so late? That is the first massive question. Surely, a 4-year-old you would ring within the hour. You would think 45 minutes, 30 minutes to 45 minutes, because you're worried and he's nowhere to be seen and you panic. But 3 hours? That's just too long. That is too long, and it does raise a lot of red flags to me. Police helicopter assisted in the search on the night using an infrared camera, but found no trace of the boy. Sunday, the September the 28th, police continued an extensive ground search using trail bikes, ATVs, and drone to cover a 2.5 km radius search area from where Gus was last seen. Pager messages seeking SES volunteers, initially 2 crews around the mid-north and later in the day for crews based in Adelaide, was sent requesting volunteers to help with the search near Yunta. The release gave a description of Gus, who they have described as Caucasian with long blonde curly hair, and said he was wearing a grey sun hat, a cobalt blue long sleeve t-shirt with a yellow Minions picture on the front, light grey pants and boots. Monday the 29th, police said water operation teams had been called into the search dams and tanks, while mounted operation teams also joined the hunt. Superintendent Mark Cyrus, officer in charge of the York and Mid-North region, said police believed a young lad wandered off, which is where police were concentrating their efforts. He said police were throwing everything we possibly can at the search, but quiet but really adventurous little boy. He's quiet, but a really adventurous little boy. Bill Harbison, who's a neighbour, reads a statement on behalf of Gus's family on Tuesday. And a lot of them really got a lot of respect for Josie and the family. Family spokesman Bill Harbison read a statement to the media, and this was Tuesday, the September 30th. Gus's absence is felt of us, and we miss him more than words can express, he said. But we realise that at the end of the day, what people are saying. Superintendent Mark Cyrus gives an update on ABC News. Wednesday, October the 1st, police revealed they had spoken to the family about the potential to move from a search to recovery effort, given Gus had likely been without food and water for more than 80 hours. Move on to Thursday, October the 2nd. The Australian Defence Force, ADF, joined other agencies and volunteers at the property, deploying around 50 personnel to help with the search. Royce Player used to be a neighbour with Gus's family and joined in the search efforts to Thursday. So a lot of people were coming out that knew the family and were happy to talk, but we wanted a little bit more from the family. Friday, October the 3rd, police confirmed they have scaled back the search for 4-year-old Gus almost a week after his disappearance. Assistant Commissioner Ian Parrott said enormous search operations had been undertaken over the past week. There has been no sign of Gus. And if we remember that they had searchers on the ground who said he wasn't out there, and some of them are trackers as well, and that was quite odd. It comes as South Australian Police Senior Constable Peter Williams told ABC Radio Adelaide police phone lines have been inundated with information since the photo with Gus was released. Interesting stuff. But nothing have come of where we are today. It's gone cold, and it's the first time in a while it's gone cold. But I just want to move on to the family, which I think it's really, really important. So Josie Murray is an Australian transgender woman and grandmother. If she chooses to be that way, that's fine. Involved in the ongoing news story surrounding her 4-year-old grandson, Gus Lamont, who went missing from the family homestead in the South Australian outback. Here's the details about Josie Murray's involvement. Family member Josie Murray is one of the 2 grandmothers to Gus Lamont. The preschooler lived at the homestead with his mother, Jess Lamont, and his 2 grandmothers, Shannon and Josie. Why nothing on Shannon? I think Ali had shown me one photo of Shannon, and that was it. That's quite bizarre. I don't think we're being told everything about the family, which is really, really bizarre. Shannon not coming out. Ali did come up with a source that basically she might have died because nobody's not seen her recently. I don't know whether that's true or not at the end of the day, because like I said, there's always been mentioned 2 grandmothers actually living at the property. Unless it was another Shannon, an older relative in the family, I don't know. But like I said, it's something that I'm still looking into. Transgender identity sources state that Josie transitioned 7 years ago and now identifies as a male. She inherited the Oak Park sheep station from her wife, Shannon's parents. Shannon's parents. Interesting stuff. Interesting. I think that we need to really hear from this Shannon. We really, really need to hear from this Shannon badly. I think it'd be interesting if she speaks out, if she's allowed to, because it seems like Josie seems to call all the shots in this. I mean, could it be like a bit of a power struggle? That's a massive possibility. That's interesting. Involvement in disappearance. Gus Lamont was last seen on the 27th of September 2000 for playing in the yard of the family's remote homestead near Yunta. He disappeared shortly afterwards. Josie went to call him inside. And she went outside and he wasn't there. And she said that she was seating the 1-year-old baby of Jess. Jess, I presume Joshua was the father, but obviously there's been conversations that is there a possibility of keeping Josie's? That's why they're so tight and it's kept in the family. That's been talked about as well. I'm not saying there's anything in it at the end of the day, but like I said, it is strange. Murray has made limited public comments regarding the case. She said the family remains hopeful despite the search being downgraded by police, but has declined offers assistance. Sounds like to me she doesn't want anyone around the property, and that is absolutely bizarre. And I've asked this question many times. Why did it take 6 days to release a photo of Gus? That's one of the actual strangest things I've ever come across. 6 days? You'll do that in the first couple of hours. If I had a youngster going missing that age, I'd put it out in the first 10, 15 minutes so the police knew what they're looking for. So the police were searching the first 5 days, and yet the public didn't know who we were searching for. We just knew it was a 4-year-old boy called Josh, and then a picture miraculously appears. Very bizarre, very bizarre, very bizarre indeed. Family dynamics. News reports have highlighted family tensions related to the living situation. A family friend mentioned that Gus's father, Josh Lamont, had moved out of the homestead due to the clashes with Josie and felt it was unsafe for the children. So why did he take the children with him? I know that he was doing up a home, and he was due to move the family in there. Had that been something Josie didn't like, them taking Jess and the kids with him to start obviously a new life on their own, that is really, really, really bizarre. I think these family connections, I honestly do think they hold a lot of the answers we're actually looking for. I think the thing is, at the end of the day, I know it sounds kind of strange. We haven't heard from this Shannon. We haven't even seen a photo of this Shannon. Is there a possibility she could be dead? Because I know Ali was looking into it, but it could be another Shannon, maybe a great grandmother or something like that. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't got that information in front of me, but that is absolutely bizarre. But it's said that he's got 2 grandmothers, so you would have thought that she's still alive, and that the news and police would know who's actually living in the house. But obviously, was it Jess, the daughter, was feeding or helping with the sheep with, I presume, a worker at the time. And Josie was the one left at the property with the 1-year-old, which doesn't make sense why she would handle 2 kids. And the thing is as well, don't forget there was that big football match on as well. And like I said, we don't know whether the family were actually watching it, whether they were drinking beer or alcohol. We don't know. It's really, really bizarre, this case. But like I said, we've just got to keep putting it out there. And unfortunately, at no point there's been any significant evidence to give us a clue to where he may have gone. I'm absolutely gobsmacked there's no leads out where he was. But like I said, I think a lot of people don't think he was actually out there. And I do think that the police will probably need to talk to the family and even bring them into the police station. Because like I said, I think there's more to this than move the eye. And we can't allow this case to go cold. Let me know what you think, people. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Investigations. And I'll do my best to keep putting keep putting obviously this young boy out there, Gus Lamont. And like I said, I would definitely want to hear more from Josh. Hopefully the family will talk, even Jess at some times. But like I said, the Shannon situation is weird because, like I said, I don't think I've not known she said a word. I know Ali dug up a picture for her, but it was from years ago. And she did say there was a death in the family and that it was possibly someone called Shannon, which is quite odd to me. But like I said, there's some really, really strange stuff in this case about the family. and we can't work it out yet. At the end of the day, it is strange. It's very, very strange. But our main concern is finding this 4-year-old little boy, Gus. Thank you all. Take care.